All right, here we go. Hopefully, my voice is going to hold up today for game two of Bucks Raptors. And I thought the story in game one to me was the way the Bucks really throttled Toronto's offense. So once the unsustainable 3-point shooting of the first half, 10 out of 21, dried up, the Raptors could not get anything going, especially in the paint against Brook Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, it was striking. Milwaukee has been the best defense in the entire NBA, not only at the frequency of opponent shots at the rim, but also the success rate of those shots. And that double has been really important. And they just had bodies in the paint, whether it was cutters, drivers, Kawhi Leonard in particular. As strong as Philadelphia's defense was at many points in that series, there are more bodies in the paint for Milwaukee, and we'll see if there are any adjustments, any wrinkles. Using Gasol more in space, having him. I mean, he took plenty of shots, but being a little bit more aggressive
Yeah.
in pick and pop capacities, I think that's an important thing as well. So yeah, this
Yeah.
this is gonna be an interesting one. I'm gonna be looking at the benches. Like what will we see from Malcolm Brogdon in this game? Mirotic is still starting. Fred VanVleet, Norm Powell, Serge Ibaka. We talked about how this is more of an Ibaka series than a Gasol one. See if Nick Nurse agrees.
Yeah, and also Milwaukee, their main guys played so many fewer minutes. Here's Giannis, hands off to Mirotic. He was open at range, did not look to take it. Now they're getting into the post. Giannis on the wing against Siakam into the lane. Does not get the foul, but he gets the dunk instead. And for the first half for Giannis, it was much the same as in game one against the Celtics, where he was not able to get to the rim. A lot of attacking from the top. They set him up on a wing ISO that time. Lopez stepping out nicely onto Kawhi. Here's Gasol looking to post up off the switch on Middleton. Goes with a nice move. Rejected from behind by Giannis. What a play by Giannis, and the Bucks continuing their awesome rim protection. 1.3 to shoot for Toronto.
Yeah, and on that one, it looked like Gasol had a one-on-one, and then Giannis just flies in there for the recovery block from the strong side.
Yeah, no chance for Gasol there. Gasol might say, hey, he crashed into me, but after the block, you're usually not going to get that call. 1.3 to shoot for Toronto. Lowry way cross-court to Gasol and completely cross-court.
They only had 1.3 seconds left, so sometimes guys get more aggressive with those passes just because it's low chance of success in the first place.
Yep, no problem with that. Oh, and then they find Giannis wide open underneath against Siakam. Siakam was looking to guard Mirotic, and great pass. The Bucks not great passers overall, but that was fantastic from Bledsoe. Now they look for Kawhi underneath. He can't get it. Bledsoe gambles, misses. Lowry's pass goes awry behind Giannis. And now I think we're seeing Toronto trying to do just a little bit too much here. And that's never a good sign. It's almost as if they realize how limited their chances are right now. Here's Giannis going to the spin move. Tough fade. No, he finds Lopez in the corner. Good close from Gasol. Lopez puts it on the deck. Floats. Not there.
And that's a really tough shot for him or damn near anybody else.
Lowry was fantastic pushing it in game one. He rolls to the rim. Middleton shuts him down. Kawhi on the drive. Into the lane. Gasol loads up from the top. Way off. He's got to hit that shot, Danny. Here's Green with his own three off the rebound and yet another miss. I mean, Toronto, they have to shoot well from three-point range because they just cannot get it at the rim. Here's Giannis pulling up. Mirotic dominating inside for the rebound.
Yeah, and Toronto, it's weird to see a team concede as many threes as Milwaukee does, but they're not giving up anything in the lane and they don't foul much. So it's a deliberate thing from Milwaukee, and Toronto's going to have to make those.
The pass behind Gasol, another impossible shot for Toronto. They have not gotten the looks so far. Bledsoe back to Giannis, switched onto by Lowry, who gets a deflection. Now Giannis at the free throw line. Oh, he never actually got out of the lane, but then Danny Green just misses Mirotic, and it's 9-0 timeout.
Danny Green dug on Giannis. He was freaked out that Giannis was going to turn on Kyle Lowry to that turn to his right, and over his right shoulder, and dug in, and Giannis, instead of going down, just looked up and passed it right to Mirotic. Beautiful play.
Yeah, and it's absolutely beautiful for the Bucks so far. Their passing has been outstanding tonight.
Yeah, so it's a 7-0 start. Toronto has they've already turned the ball over twice. That's something else that we're going to keep an eye on in this matchup. And also offensive rebounding for Toronto. Milwaukee, because they keep so many guys in the paint, they're generally a great defensive rebounding team. And the one they got was more opportunistic. Kyle Lowry, the ball, it never hit rim and bounced right to him. And then they didn't obviously score in that possession because they haven't scored on any possessions. This is a great time to have questions. I'm not seeing any right now, so I'll tell you about Patreon. Patreon.com/Duncan LaRue. Great way to support this. As you can tell, we are not ad supported at the moment. So we make it worth your money anyway. It's not, it's just a way of showing your support. Subscriber only podcasts. We do mailbags at least once a month. This month we'll have 2, but that's because the April one was a little bit late. Early release podcasts, which we're going to do more of now that we're doing off-season previews. Salary cap sheets, all that fun stuff. When we think of something, like I do airport AMAs when I travel, all that sort of stuff. And that is all exclusively for Patreon subscribers. A question from Josh Craig. What the hell happened to Tyreek Evans? We don't know. I wish him the absolute best, but the reporting that's out there in this circumstance, which is similar, we'll talk about it on the pod at some point, but with Birdman and OJ Mayo, is that the punishment here, barring something that we haven't heard so far, relates to a drug of abuse. And so, I mean, that's a very specific set of things. There's a list. I'm sure it's been tweeted out at this point, and that triggers this program. And so, wish him the best. He's out of the league for 2 years. That's 29 to 31, and I mean, hopefully he comes back from it.
Yeah, and he had some long, relatively unexplained absences due to personal reasons this season. It does not seem like things had been going well for him leading up to this point.
From Casey White, thoughts on Kevin Arnovitz saying that centers are a mercenary position and should be paid as such. I would need further context to get all of it. I haven't heard the whole thing there, but generally speaking, I agree. And that's something that Nate and I talked about. What really clarified it for me was our center rankings last season. So the 17-18 season, I think we got to like 12 or 13. Incidentally, the guy was Yusuf Nurkic. And He ended up and was basically, once you got below that, and really what the line was did that player bring so much of a positive that A, you probably wouldn't take them off the court, and B, that other teams would have to deal with it. And if you're below that line, I would be very reluctant to pay somebody serious money.
Yeah, by the way, let us know how the audio quality is, if we've got any issues, because it was a faulty cord, which is why my microphone was getting that feedback last time. So hopefully that is fixed now. I bought a new cord. All right, we're back here. Kyle Lowry had arguably his best playoff game in a Toronto uniform. Maybe you would say that Game 7 in 2016 against Miami, where I think he had 31 points in that one, might compete with that. Kawhi has not yet gotten a touch in the scoring zone. Middleton doing a great job of denying him. Late clock again. Danny Green putting it on the deck underneath. Gasol pump fake rejected again by the Bucks. Here's Bledsoe bothered by Gasol. Here's Mirotic backdoor, and he picks up the foul. Non-shooting affair on Kyle Lowry.
But I like that. Players, when a teammate gets trapped, just try to get into a space where they can get you the ball and just get out of it. They still had, I think before the foul, they had like 10 seconds left. It could have gotten something better than Bledsoe being stuck.
High pick and roll with Bledsoe and Lopez. Bledsoe into the lane. Misses a difficult layup. He had Lopez available on the pick and pop. Did not see him. Now Toronto's transition game. Green puts it on the floor. Giannis with the help. Good close down by Mirotic. Now here's a three from Green. Yes! Danny Green with the corner three. But you still see how hard Toronto has to work for that. They got to get in transition, though. Middleton with his first touch. Mirotic gets Kawhi in the air. His drive. Floats. Scores. Nice skill level from Nikola Mirotic. Long underutilized. Now Lowry tries to bump into Giannis. And what a bullshit call that is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Giannis took a step back. I think that's.
Did he? I mean, he's just running away from it, and Lowry runs right into his ass.
I thought Giannis took a step back when I saw it, but
I mean, he was running away from him, trying not to commit the foul, and Lowry not even trying to go towards the basket, as this is going to be a chuck on Middleton here out on the floor with the two hands. Middleton does not have the strength advantage on Kawhi, but again, we're seeing what difficulty Toronto is having even getting Kawhi the ball. Siakam, hands off to Kawhi. They try to set the flare screen for Lowry. Kawhi, it did not look that way. Now it's a high pick and roll. Kawhi shut down with the help by Mirotic. Green, they forced him to put it on the deck, and that's the Bucks will take that every time.
And Middleton snuck under that screen pretty cleanly and got right back to Kawhi. Didn't think he was going to pull the quick release jumper, which was correct.
Yeah, and that's a deep three by Middleton over Kawhi. Siakam looking to attack into the lane, floats it up and scores. Finally, they get a bucket at the rim, and that's what Siakam is going to need to do. He was 6 of 20 in game one. They'll need more from him. Giannis going at Siakam. Great job moving his feet by Siakam. Now it's Kawhi, but it's a 1-on-4. Oh, the beautiful extension by Leonard. I thought he had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and going to his left hand, there was a little bit of a seam by Middleton, and getting that distance with his arm is what prevented Giannis from blocking it.
Yeah, Kawhi, an excellent left-hand finisher. Giannis loads up from the top. He has not been close on those 2 attempts up there.
Yeah, to me, that needs to be more of an in case of emergency thing rather than just a part of your
and he wasn't even that open. Now Lowry tries the back door, and this will be another foul on the Bucks. Mirotic holding Green. Green has been active early.
And that's another way that Toronto can try to generate offense, get into the bonus, and then get a couple of free throws. I think that was a big change that happened in the second half. You know, their offense was a lot worse, but at least they were getting to the line.
Siakam up top, Green off a screen. Now it's Leonard weak side. Leonard goes early, engages Ilyasova, fades away on him. And such a difference, Danny, when it's Ilyasova at center there for Kawhi instead of Brook Lopez, who has sat down pretty early. He'll come back when Giannis goes out of the game, most likely. Giannis looking to hand off to Mirotic. Mirotic tries to draw the foul. Cannot. Not a good play. Kawhi looking to push it. Drag screen comes from Gasol. Gasol on the roll. Not a threat rolling to the basket. Now they get it to him, and he dribbles the pass. And then a dumb foul reaching in from Gasol. And I think it's difficult for Kawhi. I like Ibaka much more as a role partner for him. Someone who can get to the rim and actually dunk that. And a little quicker release, quicker load up on those pick and pops.
Yeah, and who has a lot more familiarity with the footwork and the execution of a quick pick and pop, like where you're really trying to get that shot. Let's see.
Yeah, and I mean that's going to be there for the roll man, certainly, rather than Gasol looking to make plays off the roll against.
People's ears are not bleeding, so we're good.
All right, that's very encouraging.
It has been sort of discounted a little bit, but I want to answer the question anyway. Somebody asked, would the Pelicans ownership actually stonewall the best deal for Anthony Davis if it's from the Lakers? My instinct is no. I mean, especially if it were materially better. Depending on how much the Lakers throw in, I'm not in love with their assets, especially as it pertains to the Pelicans now with Zion. This is something Sam Vecini and I talked about, that these reluctant or limited shooters like Brandon Ingram, not as valuable with Zion unless you really believe in his jump shot more than the people who know his game well do. And like, you probably want him to be their worst or second worst shooter on the floor to maximize offensively. Great talented kid, but that's our limitation. That's also a problem for Lonzo. So wanting what the Lakers have might be a limitation. Could they put their thumb on the scale and say, no, we don't want to do it? Yeah, it's possible, but I wouldn't expect it, reporting or otherwise.
What's the biggest viewership we've gotten for the NBA cast? With Periscope, it's different how they're counting the views. I think that Periscope kind of counts it as like, oh, if you see it in the Twitter feed, then it counts. But, I mean, we've gotten like 6 figures on Periscope, but in terms of concurrent views, maybe like 2,500 people is probably the most at once.
Yeah, that's about right.
We used to get featured in the Periscope app, which helped, or would get boosted. Like my tweet would get boosted on Twitter. so we get more. But in terms of just organic views, maybe like 2,500 is probably about the most that we've gotten for like really big games, the NBA Finals. So hopefully that will continue to rise. But I wouldn't expect it to that much. I mean, there's just so many barriers to entry, which we thank you guys for overcoming for watching this show with us. But it's obviously difficult to have to sync up. If we could actually just cast the game, my hope would be that it could take off a little bit more. And we could post it
like
on
natively
Reddit
in the NBA's app or something or whatever. Isn't Boston the front runner for Anthony Davis now? For me, it's hard to place a front runner right now because the big complication from Danny Ainge's perspective is how interested are they in Anthony Davis if Kyrie Irving, if either it doesn't affect Kyrie Irving's decision or if Kyrie Irving is leaving, because you get Anthony Davis with the goal of, trying to be a championship team. And to me, if they lose Kyrie Irving, it's very difficult to replace what he brings to the table. They wouldn't have cap space. So then you're giving it up. Maybe you can still resign him. Maybe you can't. So Boston has the most assets. I don't think that's particularly arguable unless a team like Denver threw everything in. But are they willing to throw all those in? I'm not sure.
George Hill and Brogdon have come on now. Giannis playing at center, and nice play again by Siakam, who's played well defensively. Toronto has stanched the bleeding, at least on defense. I think that Toronto can slow down this Milwaukee half-court offense to some degree. I think they did that in large part, other than the offensive rebounding in Game 1. Ilyasova closed down by Gasol, goes to the step back. That's not there. Rebound Lowry. Lowry looking to push it. Yeah. Not as hard as I was expecting, actually.
And since the first few minutes, Milwaukee's looks have been significantly worse than the beginning.
Yeah, they gave up a couple of system buckets early. Lowry going to get the screen for Gasol. Now Lowry just rises up over Hill. Not really the greatest look there. Toronto has got to win these minutes to me with Ilyasova at center. He is so much worse of a player than Lopez, but then he drains that three-pointer, 17-9, Milwaukee. Is the camera good, by the way?
Yes, I checked it.
Pretty dumb of me to be thinking of that. Here's the back door. So Middleton is topsiding Kawhi here, and the back door from Gasol went awry. Not really close. Now Giannis into the lane, and he's just going to dunk that.
And Siakam grabbed him before that, but didn't get enough to call the foul.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, that should have been an and one. And Gasol, he was not there to help because I think Ilyasova just hit that three-pointer. He's a little worried about that gravity. Siakam floats up a pass to Leonard. Leonard into the lane. Help comes from the top of Hill. Gasol, pump faking, just cannot even begin to think of finishing that. Here's Siakam's corner three, and he's now 0 for 8 on corner threes in the series.
And a nice job of Danny Green trying to get that offensive rebound, but doesn't pull it off and still get a 5-on-5 half-court possession because he fights back.
Giannis to Brogdon. Brogdon looking to drive. Good help comes from Siakam. Siakam now guarding Giannis. Green with good help. Giannis cannot recover. Lowry gets it. Another loose ball retrieval for Lowry. Leonard, he's got Siakam underneath. Easy finish over George Hill, and Milwaukee did not do a good enough job of getting back that time.
And I believe that's Toronto's second fast break bucket. Those are extremely important in this game. And Milwaukee, I think that's their third turnover. Either second or third, depending on if my scoreboard's updated.
High pick and roll. Brogdon gets through off the miscommunication, and another floater for Malcolm Brogdon. Milwaukee generally not too fond of mid-rangers, but they've had him going here. Lowry with a quick move underneath and great push from Kyle Lowry. Again, I mean, every bucket so precious for Toronto. Their half-court offense, I don't think has much of a chance. They got to push the ball. They've done it pretty well so far. Ilyasova off the Middleton screen. Eludes Gasol, but it can't hit. Ilyasova, more of a 33% type of guy from three. Lowry, high pick and roll, Gasol. Good job by Hill forcing on the baseline. Gasol, quick shot. Yes. Marc Gasol, generally, you see it doesn't look that comfortable. Ooh, Brogdon actually never got out of bounds on that play. That Gasol doesn't look that comfortable on those quick mid-rangers, but I think he's been told he's got to take that. He missed a bunch of them in the fourth quarter in Game 1. Not much going on for the Bucks here. Middleton stepping back for a three. Yes, and he shot it over the shorter-armed Lowry. They switched that. Miscommunication. Leonard pushed him out, but it was too late. Lowry couldn't deny him, and Middleton shot right over him. Now Lowry with his pick and pop from Siakam, not there. Kyle Lowry feeling it after game one, but has not had the touch early.
And that was a little bit of a miscommunication from George Hill on the screen, but Kyle Lowry doesn't hit the resulting shot.
And now
gets
Giannis will
fouled.
get it. His first foul on Siakam. We'll see if we can catch whether this was a foul. Yeah, I mean, Siakam...
Looks like he caught him on the arm.
Yeah, and moreover, he's kind of wrapping his arms around him, too, which is not great.
And this is something we've talked about before, but it's worth repeating that as much as fans get frustrated with, like every type of foul, there's pretty good evidence that the players who get hosed the most on whistles are actually the highest frequency fouled players, because they should just draw so many more. Like we talked about that one that when Siakam wrapped up Giannis that should have been an and one, it wasn't. They're just so hard to officiate.
So interesting here, Giannis has yet to sit. Usually he'll go out a little bit earlier as reinforcements come in for the Bucks, and perhaps Giannis would have been sitting now had he not been at the foul
they're
line.
giving Bledsoe. He's sitting at the table. He's going to come in for Giannis basically at the next available stoppage. So he just gets to block part of the ad for about a minute.
Giannis, one of the three finalists for MVP that were announced today, along with James Harden and Paul George. And
did they commit a foul?
Did they just foul intentionally just to take Giannis out of the game?
Because that's their fourth team foul.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. And interesting that Kawhi will be sitting earlier than normal here as well. Maybe at the same time as Giannis is out of the game. Ibaka has come on, Green off the screen, into the lane, floats a terrible shot up over Lopez. Lopez just an absolute mountain in there. He has caused so many problems for Toronto's half-court offense. Brogdon up top, Lopez closed down by Ibaka. Now there's the three from Brogdon, and it goes down. And that's all the gravity of Brook Lopez there. Danny Green felt like he had to help on the drive after Ibaka closed out on him, and that left Brogdon open. Brogdon has been aggressive shooting the three. I think coming off the bench has helped his aggressiveness a little bit. Siakam, Lowry, Ibaka does not take the jumper, goes into Ilyasova, and they want a blocking foul. Lowry making the blocking foul sign, but Ilyasova surging ahead of his
3-2.
His competitor Kyle Lowry in terms of most charges in the series, and considering the relative playing time for both. Yeah, and that's absolutely a blocking foul.
Yeah, he was moving to the left.
Like he goes one way and then he sidles back over the other way. That is a blocking foul. But it's just his reputation. He gets that call all the time. That's a bad call. Here's Brogdon. Hill, who did not continue his success in the previous series in game one. Brogdon again. And Milwaukee struggled so badly from downtown in game one. They are lighting it up so far. What are they shooting from three?
5 of 10.
Lowry, high pick and roll. Siakam, another floater for Toronto. Milwaukee will live with those shots all day long. Hill in transition. He's got Lopez up top. Lopez from way out. Not close.
5 of 11.
Lowry getting past Brogdon. Finds Ibaka. Ibaka stopped from behind. I think it was
Connaughton.
Connaughton. Hill on the drive into Siakam and lays it in. Milwaukee, absolute domination. Nurse will take another timeout. Once Kawhi went out of the game, it got away from them immediately.
This is pretty remarkable to me. So, Milwaukee's defense, they're trying to stop shots at the rim, ideally reduce their foul totals, and that leads to giving up some open threes. They have still outscored Toronto from the three-point line alone by 12 points in this game so far. They have 5 made threes for 15 points. Toronto has 1 for 3. And considering they're also outscoring them from the free throw line and from 2, it's 8 to... Yeah, they're outscoring them everywhere. Jesus.
What do you think of what the low post said about picks being untradeable now because this lottery proved they're worth more due to the new rules? I don't think that's the case. Personally, I haven't listened to the whole episode yet, but I think I got through that segment. No, because you could just top 4 protect now instead of top 3.
Yeah, I mean... And untradeable is very different from harder to trade, which is what I think is true. I think this will be a reminder that if a team has a chance of being in the lottery and you don't protect that pick, that it might be harder to find the wiggle room, but not untradeable. No, absolutely not. It's always a continuum, and this isn't something new. First round picks have been getting harder to trade for a while now. I mean, going back to that, they've become impossible to purchase. The last first round pick that was purchased was Rudy Gobert. That didn't work out super well for the Denver Nuggets.
Van Vliet has come on now. I would imagine Kawhi is back. I didn't get a look at it here.
He is not.
He is not back. Ibaka, mid-ranger, scores over Lopez. But again, I mean, Lopez, not only does he completely wall off the rim, but he does a pretty good job of contesting these floaters. Connaughton swings to Mirotic, bothered by Siakam. They swing it. Quick miscommunication. Brogdon can't get it to him. Now here's Mirotic. Oh, man, Siakam fouled him again. Siakam's getting away with it.
He's been very handsy.
And I think Milwaukee is now 3 for 3 on floaters. Lowry looking to push it, and he's going to draw the non-shooting foul, but they're in the bonus. So, yeah, Danny, that intentional foul that they took, it now is rearing its head as Lowry will get free throws.
Generally speaking, do teams waste too much time before initiating their half-court offense? If we're talking about pure maximization, yes, but also remember that a lot of these guys, especially in the playoffs, are working really hard, and that's like a little bit of time for them to catch their breath. So I'm generally okay with it in the playoffs. But in the regular season, yeah, I think teams do slow it down a little too much.
Yeah, well, certainly, I think even in the playoffs, like Houston.
Oh, Jesus.
As Lowry misses a free throw. Milwaukee serving notice here in this first quarter. Hill on the drive, stripped by Van Vliet. Good hands by him. Powell looking to push it and get the 2-for-1. Goes at Lopez. Van Vliet in the corner. Back to Siakam. Bad pass. Takes him away from the 3, but Powell has room and hits.
And those shots are going to be available, especially when they move the ball, but you're going to have to hit them at a high proportion, better than 2 for 7.
I mean, frankly, I think Toronto has done a great job of pushing the ball.
Yes.
It's that they've gotten pretty much everything that they've gotten out of transition. Brogdon looking to run the time down. They pre-switch this. Instead, the quick pass to Mirotic, not there. Ibaka rebounds, and Van Vliet will slow it down. But he's picked up by Lopez into Ibaka. Lopez coming in from behind. They swing it. Van Vliet has room. Closed down by Lopez. What a possession from him. Instead, it's Lowry's 3. Not there. Great. I mean, Brook Lopez has been an absolute revelation moving his feet in these playoffs. From switching on to Kyrie to that possession where he made multiple efforts. Really just outstanding work. And when a guy is that big and can move that much, is playing that hard, it makes things really difficult for the opposition. We'll catch you up on the shot charts in a second. I'm going to grab a little refill on my tea at the moment.
So I'll run through some of the advanced stats so far. You can see them on the screen, but I can't, so it helps me clarify things. Milwaukee, 35 points on 26 possessions. That is a 135 offensive rating. Toronto, 81. Milwaukee, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. Despite not getting a ton in transition, their credit was 7 fast break points, so I guess it's more than I thought. They are at 68% true shooting, and a big difference between the offensive and defensive effectiveness of these two teams is turnovers. So Toronto has turned the ball over 5 times. Milwaukee has turned it over twice. And so that's also part of why Milwaukee's gotten those 7 fast break points. So yeah, it's really interesting, and now I'll take some questions. Who was better at age 24, Giannis or LeBron? I would have to go back and check it. Like, that would be a good, if you're a Patreon member, that'd be a good Patreon question where I could do more digging on it. The first thought I had was LeBron. Both those guys came into the NBA incredibly young, and LeBron at that point, I'm going to look up what LeBron's age 24 season was. My instinct is that it was one of those just monstrous ones. So his age 24 season was his second to last year as a Cav. That year, he played 81 games. He averaged 28, 7.6, 7.2. And remember, this was in a very different offensive, like there wasn't as much floor spacing. 31.7 PER, 591. So somebody asked if better at age 24, LeBron or Giannis. My instinct is LeBron, but I wasn't trying to pull up some stats.
Yeah, I think Giannis is better defensively.
Yeah.
But I mean, how limited that Cavs roster was around him. And LeBron averaged like 39 points on really efficient play against a really good defense.
Ben is putting in the shot charts. Thank you, Ben. You can follow him at Ben_DULL. He's going to be doing some great WNBA work in particular for those who are interested in that. Milwaukee's shot chart is very, very green. The only place it is not, incidentally, is at the basket, but they're 5 of 8 and gotten to the free throw line a couple times. 1 of 2 on floaters, 3 of 3 on mid-rangers, and then 5 of 12 on threes.
Yeah, and for Toronto, 3 of 6 at the rim. Gasol, in particular, has had major problems down low. They did go 3 of 5 from floater range. So, I mean, 3 of 6 at the rim is not bad against this team. But then from downtown, way off, 2 out of 8, and only 1 out of 3 for mid-rangers. But good, at least you're probably better off taking floaters than just pure mid-rangers. So this will be a critical stretch now. Presumably Kawhi is going to come back in, having gotten his rest at a little bit different of a time. He played 9 minutes. Only 2 shot attempts in those 9 minutes. Milwaukee did a great job of denying him the ball. Oh, Kawhi remains on the bench. Van Vliet's mid-ranger is off. Bledsoe looking to push it. We've seen Jody Meeks here, and I think as Bledsoe with a beautiful reverse, but Siakam contested him late. I think the conclusion for Nurse was just everyone was too tired at the end of game 1, and he wants to play more people here. Here's Powell eluding Bledsoe, and it goes in and out. Norm Powell actually has been okay so far in this series after a struggle in the first 2 series. Lopez at range against Ibaka. Drives in. Good help comes from Norm Powell on the weak side. Now they push it. Powell into the lane. He's got room underneath to Siakam, and good job by Milwaukee getting back. Ibaka does not take the three-pointer. 1-on-1 against Lopez, nowhere to go. Powell against his fellow number 24 pulls up from the mid-range and drains it.
And so Toronto, a little bit of a better start, 4-0 in their favor at the beginning of the third quarter. But
third quarter?
Or sorry, second quarter. But Milwaukee,
and it's also 2-0.
Is it? I thought they scored. That's fine. but I mean, what's interesting is Milwaukee.
You're all going to correct me when I'm
getting layups, but they've been tough ones for the most part. That was an open 3, but no.
Yeah, Bledsoe tried to take Siakam. Help came from Van Vliet. That left a wide open 3 for Hill. And now Leonard, relatively well rested, will return. Giannis is back as well. He'll probably get another rest midway through this quarter, though. Ibaka screens illegally. Hill in the back. Lopez switching on to Van Vliet. They're going to try and get it into the post to Ibaka. Now Van Vliet with the crossover has to throw it out. Powell missed a wide open Meeks. Now Meeks will take his jump shot, and that's way off. And Powell just not good enough there. He's got Jody Meeks wide open for a 3. Now Giannis in transition goes into Meeks, and not a good foul there from Jody Meeks. If he's got you beat, you got to trust the help behind you on that play. You're not going to stop him. You're not going to block his shot at that size. He had Ibaka coming through to maybe stop Giannis's layup. And if we saw Meeks at all, and the one thing that Meeks does provide is more shooting for this group. I think that's another conclusion that Nurse reached, was that they got to get some more shooting on the floor to stretch these guys out a little bit. We're seeing Leonard at the 4 here with this group as Ilyasova replaces Lopez. But I don't think we've seen Meeks since the early part of that Sixers series.
Right.
And he was playing, like 2 minutes at the start of the second quarter, basically. Giannis missing the free throw. Let's see if they can find a way to get Kawhi going here. High screen roll with Kawhi and Van Vliet. Flare screen from Ibaka. Middleton denies again nicely. Screen roll, forcing Van Vliet to the baseline, into the lane, picked up by Ilyasova. 5 on the clock. has to create, not Van Vliet's specialty. Throws up just an impossible runner with the left hand, but will stay right here as Bledsoe fouled Ibaka in the rebounding action.
You just had a hand on Ibaka's back, and it didn't seem like he pushed him too hard, but ref's going to see that and see Ibaka move out of the way and call it every time.
Toronto seems to have stabilized just a little bit here. Van Vliet again at Ilyasova. Ibaka down the lane, and he's hacked. It'll be Ilyasova with the foul. And that's the element that Serge Ibaka brings in pick and roll that Marc Gasol does not. And interesting to watch the help assignments for Milwaukee there. With Kawhi on the baseline, Middleton, the low man, would normally be the one to come over and help. Instead, it was Giannis trying to come in from the top as Middleton never moved. Not sure whether that is something that just, as Ibaka misses the free throw, that they've decided to do, or whether it just worked out that way in that possession. Brogdon back. He'll replace George Hill.
Yeah, so we really are seeing a 9-man rotation for Mike Budenholzer, Connaughton, Brogdon, Hill, and Ilyasova all getting meaningful minutes off the bench, something we saw as well in Game 1.
Brogdon off the screen, guarded by Meeks. Good denial by Meeks. Now Brogdon finally gets it. They're not getting into their offense very quickly. They switched that Middleton play. This is the same play they ran for a 3 earlier when Middleton hit the 3 over Lowry, but that was good defense from Van Vliet, a tough defender. Now Kawhi not going to give it up this time. I predict he shoots it here. Goes at Ilyasova into the lane, knocks him backwards. Now he has to throw it out. Good close down by the Bucks. Meeks' mid-ranger is off, and Jody Meeks, he's out there to make that shot. They're doing a good job running him off the line, though. Giannis posting up. Double comes from Ibaka, and this will be a foul on Norm Powell in the post-up action.
And we'll see how long both Brook Lopez and Nikola Mirotic are out here. I mean, they're presumably both of them are going to close this half, but I don't think they're going to rush either of them back in.
They switch that back screen. Middleton trying to attack Lowry. Swing it to Ilyasova. Kawhi runs Brogdon off the line, and Brogdon will pick up a pretty cheap foul there on Kawhi Leonard. But he did, in fact, have the arm on him, so that's a good call.
And Kawhi, an incredibly low foul player, so it could rear its head, but you don't really expect it to. But that is 2 free throws from Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah, he had his arm on him. I understand Brogdon going for that and getting it. Brogdon, one of those examples, we've seen a few of them in recent years. Michael Carter-Williams, I mean, he's obviously a better player than MCW, but like guys that win Rookie of the Year, and that ends up being like one of the more prominent things on the resume unless he adds NBA champion this year.
Yeah, Brogdon missing the free throw, which is a rarity for him. At one point, he was shooting 99% from the line this season. There's another floater from Ibaka. Middleton, Ilyasova misses the layup, gets his own rebound, though. Not good enough for the Raptors, and they've got more shooting on the floor now with Kawhi at the floor, but the rebounding is a question. Powell, now Kawhi. Rip through, goes at Ilyasova. Ilyasova, that should be a blocking foul. I don't know how it wasn't. But Ibaka with the offensive rebound.
Yeah, I mean, Ilyasova, and there you see the problem also with trying to take a charge. It completely takes you out of the play if you don't get the call.
Yeah, and Giannis started going down the other way instead of trying to secure the defensive rebound. Now Giannis looking to pull up, instead swings it. Van Vliet into the body of Brogdon nicely, really hounding him here. Now it's Ilyasova posting up on Powell. Goes to the tough fadeaway and hits.
Wow.
But
that's such a hard shot.
Yeah, they'll take that one. Ilyasova might take the most fadeaways of like anyone who can't jump at all. Now Kawhi going at Bledsoe. This is going to be another offensive foul in favor of Ilyasova. Bledsoe saying, hey, he's moving.
And he was. And I do enjoy that Bledsoe's that Lowry's the one complaining, considering he is the other
Oh, yeah.
connoisseur.
Well-
but I think Lowry is better at getting in position and staying in position. Maybe that's because he's a small dude. But
Yeah.
I mean, Ilyasova is so comfortable doing a lot of refs look at feet for charges that he'll get his feet in quote unquote the right spot and then move his body, and then the body's the part that makes the contact. It's very frustrating.
Kawhi has been completely shut down so far, though. 4 points, 2 of 3, 2 personal fouls, negative 12.
Yep. Question from John Connolly: should Toronto trade Lowry if Kawhi doesn't re-sign? My instinct would be yes. I mean, from a pure basketball perspective. If from a sentimental, I mean, one of the best players in the history of the franchise, those sorts of things, yeah, maybe you consider keeping him around. But I would say that the threshold for like kind of building the next step, as long as you can get assets that can really help the next great Raptors team, yeah, I would probably do it. That's an interesting one. We could end up doing this on the pod too, but we can answer it briefly now. From Mitch349, if the Pelicans hypothetically convince Anthony Davis to stay, what free agent moves could they make to solidify as a playoff team? To me, they would have two big needs to fill, both on the perimeter. And the nice thing about Drew Holiday is you can be a little bit more flexible. So one is a guard. It could be a 1, it could be a 2, it could be a combo type guy, but a guard, and then they still need a 3. Surprise, surprise, the New Orleans Pelicans need a small forward. That is not a new story. And they wouldn't have a ton of flexibility to make that happen financially. They have some, but those would be your two priorities. And so I would say they need at least one like clear-cut starter, and each one more, maybe if he has a bounce-back year, can maybe fill one of those spots, and then you obviously have Drew. So that's the biggest priority.
Kirk Goldsberry asks, do we ever switch seats? No, I don't think we ever have.
No.
Well, because my microphone is set up so that when I turn towards you, you don't see it, and your microphone's set up so when you turn towards me, you don't see it. So,
No.
I like being on the left. It's like I'm driving.
That makes total sense. Even though when we have driven together, there have been few times where I drove for portions of time. If you were the Kings, would you throw out a big offer to Malcolm Brogdon? No, because they have a lot at the guard spots. Buddy Hield, Bojan Bogdanovic, obviously De'Aaron Fox. To me, if Sacramento's throwing out a big offer for anybody, it's a front court player, forward or center, depending on where they see Marvin Bagley eventually. I think a Bagley is more of a 5, though if you had an awesome enough center, not that that's necessarily Vooch, I would consider going in that direction. But Brogdon's not a particularly good fit for them. I think Brogdon, my most interesting one, and they don't have a ton of cap space. I just wrote about them in an off-season preview. If they could clear a little bit more money, I think Brogdon and Booker would be an interesting backcourt in Phoenix.
Does anyone draw more bullshit charges than Ilyasova? No.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, he is like, per 36 minutes, he's like at least double the rate of charge drawing of the next person in the league. Here's Bledsoe into the lane, tripped, and he's going to draw the foul.
They're getting close to the bonus. I think that's the 3rd or 4th on Toronto. And a lot of them have been kind of smaller, shooting or kind of like fringy calls, but they add up all the same.
Yeah. In fairness, by the way, every time we've driven somewhere, except for once, it's been in my car. So
that's for sure.
That's part of why I'm the one who's usually driving.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Here's Bledsoe pulling up. Ilyasova, another difficult shot, the lefty floater. Ersan Ilyasova having himself a fantastic game.
7 points, 1 rebound in 9 minutes plus 12. Oh, 9 points. So it has an update.
Middleton topsiding Kawhi again off the screen. He missed Van Vliet open as the double came from up top. Now it's Lowry pick and roll with Ibaka into the lane on Ilyasova. Floats up an impossible fader and scores.
It was a giant killer without using the backboard.
Medium size guy killer. Ilyasova's not really like full center size. Ilyasova faking the step back. Now he gets Bledsoe wide open. Bledsoe has struggled from downtown. Now 0 for 7 in the series. Kawhi going at Middleton, and Middleton picks up that same forearm play that Kawhi got called for a few minutes ago. And that's such a difficult shot from Ilyasova. They're showing the replay off his left foot, left hand, floats it up over the shot blocker, Ibaka. They go under on Kawhi. Now he gets room, and this will be Ibaka with the foul. And I really think, Danny, they can't get the ball into the post to Kawhi, apparently. It would be nice if they actually ran like a cross screen or a wedge screen or something for him. But just get him the ball in the wing and let him just back down. He's so much better attacking from the wing to me than the top. Giannis off the screen from Bledsoe. He's got room from the foul line. Interesting play design there. Ooh, it looked like Ibaka might have hurt his ankle. Instead, Ilyasova somehow gets the steal. Ibaka just threw it away. Ilyasova his anticipation has been preternatural in this game. Kawhi off the pitch. He missed Ibaka up top. Now he throws it way weak side to Lowry. Great close from Bledsoe. Ibaka's three-pointer did not have his feet set and ready to shoot that time. Bledsoe. Brogdon, quick release. 3 from Brogdon. I love that from Malcolm Brogdon. Getting the 3 off quickly. He has not done that much in his career. Shot a great percentage, but not a high-volume guy. That time it went up quick. Kawhi engages Ilyasova. To Ibaka, no advantage gained. Now Kawhi takes the 3. Hits. Tough shot there by Kawhi Leonard off the Ibaka screen. Bledsoe into the lane, out to Ilyasova, feeling himself.
Whoa!
And rightfully so. Oh, baby.
Jeez.
Ersan Ilyasova. I thought maybe the Raps could take advantage with him playing instead of Brook Lopez, and instead, Ilyasova has been fantastic. Kawhi getting past Ilyasova, and that's where Ilyasova can be vulnerable a little bit in pick-and-roll defense.
And so the players with 2 fouls in this game as of now, nobody has 3. Kawhi, Lowry, Serge Ibaka, Giannis, and now Ersan Ilyasova. So there's some guys that could get into some trouble here in the remaining 4:43. But for right now, we're okay. Bucks, 7 of 16 from 3. Raptors, 3 of 11 from 3. So they've taken fewer and made 4 fewer.
Reinforcements for the Raptors. Siakam returning. Jackie McMullen was talking about Siakam maybe dealing with an injury here. And certainly I think since he suffered that calf contusion, he has not quite been the same. Also, discussion that it's a hamstring issue that's limiting him, as Leonard with a couple of free throws. Gasol is back. We'll see how he plays. He'll be going against Ilyasova. A little bit easier of a matchup for him. Now, looks like the Raptors are actually in a zone here with Giannis out of the game. Brogdon closed down by Siakam. Siakam is really handsy.
Did they not? Marc Gasol fouled the crap out of him there. I assume they.
Yeah. They got Ilyasova. Yeah, wow. Gasol really did foul him too on the pass off.
Yeah.
And Siakam, every time someone drives, he's putting his hands on him. Like he should be getting called for a foul every single time.
Brook Lopez has only played 10 minutes in this game.
Yeah, and I mean with Ilyasova playing this well, why not? Does miss the free throw, and the Ilyasova magic could peter out. You would suspect. It looks like, let's see who Lopez is going to get here. It'll be he and Ilyasova together. I don't know if I like that group as much. That's a pretty slow alignment.
Well, I'm guessing Giannis will grab him in a minute or two.
Yeah. But again, Mike Budenholzer getting plenty of contributions off his bench. 18-point Buck lead. And Kawhi really taking over the offense here. Brogdon is a little easier matchup for him, especially in the post, than Middleton. And Kawhi just waves Gasol away. He just wants to take Brogdon. Gets to his spot, shoves off. Easy jumper. That's too easy if you're the Bucks. And they'll throw it ahead to Brogdon here against Lowry. Picked up by Kawhi. Swing up top to Hill. Lopez closed down by Siakam. Here's Mirotic. Quick release from the corner over Gasol. Nikola Mirotic. And the Milwaukee Bucks just have so much shooting and so much size to shoot over guys. Kawhi going at Brogdon again. Let's see where the help comes from. Tries to get space on Lopez. Good help from Lopez off of Gasol. Siakam going at Ilyasova. Misses. Ilyasova with the nice rebound. Mirotic pushing in transition.
Trying to go behind the back.
Yeah, Bucks, big lineup here. Not a ton of ball handling. They're taking too long to get into it right now. High screen roll comes from Lopez. Hill crossing over on Lowry and gets into the lane. Lopez sealed off Gasol's help nicely, and a bad gamble from Lowry, and Nick Nurse is going to get a timeout.
And so even in that stretch with Giannis off the floor, Milwaukee able to generate some good looks offensively, and that was an amazing steal by Brook Lopez. Only one guy in the vicinity, and that created the opening for the George Hill layup. And so right now, there are two different Milwaukee Bucks that have bench players that have outscored Toronto's entire bench. So Powell and Ibaka have combined, and the other Van Vliet and Meeks haven't scored. Those guys have been combined for 11 points. Brogdon has 12. Ilyasova has 15. Those are actually the two leading scorers for the Bucks. Brogdon tied with Mirotic for second.
Yeah, Brogdon has 12 points, and he's done it on only 5 shooting possessions, 3 of 3 from downtown, and 3 assists as well. And I like him coming off the bench here. The additional size of Mirotic, who also has 12 points in this game, has really helped. But Brogdon, I like him being a little bit more aggressive coming off the bench than he can be in that starting group.
That's a good question. We've been asked this before. If you could be the GM of any team right now, so let's say starting on May 17th, 2019, who would it be?
Oh, man.
I'm pulling up a team list. I mean, I've been working on off-season previews, but it's good to just look at the full list. So for me, what I'm looking at is a team that has potential but also flexibility. Because if they're kind of locked in, it's not as interesting. It's like, for example, like the Warriors' job isn't super compelling, even though they're a good team. Bucks, largely the same thing. They're really, really good.
But probably Clippers, right?
Clippers would be fun. Especially, like, I've heard that this draft isn't great, so it's not as valuable to have draft assets. Clippers are a good one. I'd enjoy the Jazz job, just like figuring out how to build around Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I think that would be fun. Dallas is a job that I would really enjoy. Atlanta.
Yeah, Dallas and Atlanta are two that I think would be really interesting. Although Dallas now with their future draft pick obligations.
New Orleans would be now pretty high on
New
the
Orleans
list.
would be great, yeah. That would be great now. Especially, with the haul they presumably will get for AD.
Brooklyn would be fun. I like what they're building. They don't have a lot of bad money on their books. They might be adding some soon, but I could control against that, or hopefully.
Any more on that, or
we can move on.
Why doesn't Gasol post up anymore? Because he's not good at it anymore. That's the biggest reason. I mean, when he's tried to post up in these playoffs, it just hasn't gone that well.
Matthew Winger says, glad I rushed home from work for this blowout. Hey, it's basketball. You're going to miss it when it's gone. We're not too far away from very few games, so enjoy it. Which team would you like to see Kawhi sign with in free agency? I'd like to see him stay in Toronto. If he's not going to stay in Toronto, the Clippers are really interesting. I think that the support pieces they have make a lot of sense for him. Like Shamet to me is a really fun player with Kawhi because he's such a good catch and shoot guy and can just run around, kind of do the Redick style of thing. And they also have a lot of roster flexibility. So that would be my number 2.
.21 game here. Toronto is really going to need to get back into it. Gasol. Flex action underneath. Bucks switch it perfectly. Now Lowry finally gets open for the mid-ranger. Nice rebound by Siakam. He beasted Giannis, but then shot the layup over him too strong. Hill. Brogdon in the corner. Just going to try and go one-on-one. Help comes from Gasol. Wide open corner 3 is Lopez. Not there. Hill rebounds, though. Brogdon, can he go 4 for 4 from downtown? Oh, it just spins out. And Hill picks up the cheap foul. Not a good foul there from George Hill.
Especially because Toronto's in the bonus, so that's just 2 free throws. Considering how much Toronto has struggled to get good offense, making them not only work any clock, but also just get 2 free throws for Danny Green.
Nothing makes you happier than the bonus. I think that's the thing that like it makes you happier than anything.
Well, it drives me crazy because because fouls in the bonus or getting into the bonus, it takes what would be a low consequence foul and makes it an extremely high consequence foul. Like it's a really big swing. Like 3-shot fouls are in many ways a similar thing, where you make something so much worse by an accumulation of small mistakes. That's really my deal. And we really haven't seen much Eric Bledsoe in this first half. He hasn't been good, but
yeah. But I mean, Brogdon has been so good as well. He's out now. This is Hill. Middleton hasn't played as much either, actually. I mean, they've gotten great bench contributions. Giannis, screen roll with Hill. They switch it. Now Siakam gets back way in the corner. Middleton gets past Gasol on the wild closeout. Here's the 3. Oh, Giannis with the chip.
That was basically an alley-oop that was not intended to be one.
He got inside of Siakam. Backdoor Leonard. Back to Gasol. No, he faked the behind-the-back pass. Now he's just going to back out. Lopez, you see him just standing at the nail right now. Leonard, I mean, that's just another mid-ranger from Gasol. I mean, you're not going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks with shots like that. And then Green with a dumb gamble. Giannis is going to push it in transition. Nice job by Siakam. And Green at least sprinted back to his credit. Now Giannis, Lopez, fouled by Lowry. Clear foul.
Yeah, and if you're going to go for a stupid gamble, A, try not to foul the guy if you don't get the ball, and B, hustle your ass back so that you don't sacrifice too much in positioning. And if you can make both those things work, it's less bad. Wow, that was a really impressive play by Giannis. He went, first of all, Siakam bumped him in the air, but he went up for that ball not knowing if it was going to go in or not, and then just was able to catch it right after it popped off the rim.
Yeah, Siakam should probably have about 6 fouls in this first half.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he's it could be even more than that. He's been called for 2, but he's been very handsy.
Yeah. Lopez hitting a couple of free throws, 23-point Milwaukee lead. Green is open off the screen, and this is going to be, what are we going to call here? Oh, it looks like Mirotic going through the screen by Lowry just chucked him. So this will be more free throws again for Toronto. A couple of bad fouls here by Milwaukee. Those fouls are especially damaging when the Raptors just cannot get a decent shot in the half court, but not as damaging because Lowry misses the free throw. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good Raptors team that the Bucks are completely destroying right now. Zone look again for the Raptors. Giannis into the lane. Siakam could have gotten another foul there. Instead, Middleton stopped by Green. Good contest, but what are we going to get here? Foul in the rebounding action. Yeah, Lowry shoved Mirotic in the back, and this will be more free throws. Mirotic, at one time in his career in Chicago, had a high free throw rate basically exclusively on drawing bullshit loose ball fouls.
Yeah, he had like 0 shooting fouls in his repertoire.
Yeah, I think that was his rookie year, but his free throw rate has declined markedly since then. But the Bucks' offensive rebound, this is now 4 fouls on Kyle Lowry. Oof. But I mean, and he had that one on Lopez, and then another one there. But I mean, I thought that was a pretty clear foul. Those last 2 were obvious.
Yeah, he just shoved a guy trying to get a rebound. What do you maybe they're not going to call it, but you can't argue it is anything other than a foul if they see it. Like, hey, he's bigger than me. I get to push him as a smaller guy. That doesn't count as an excuse.
Siakam, nice help from Mirotic. Siakam looking to attack Giannis. Gasol, another one of those mid-rangers, another one of those misses.
Yeah, and he was what, 2 for 11 from the field in game 1.
Yeah.
He's 1 for 7 tonight.
I mean, I think they got to go back to Ibaka. Like, they're getting killed. Like, Gasol, they just cannot score with him out there. Giannis against Green off the switch. Now, here's Mirotic back to Giannis. Bledsoe open in the corner. His 3 is off. Mirotic again beating Siakam, and he'll shoot 2 more free throws, and they've gotten the 2 for 1 as well.
I hope they called that on Siakam. First of all, because Siakam committed another 3 fouls on that play, but also he hooked Mirotic before Mirotic fell over. It is like, honestly, somebody could put together like a sizzle reel of everything that could have been called a foul by Pascal Siakam. Off the top of my head, I can think of.
Don't worry, Ben. We're not going to make you.
We're not going to make you do that. Off the top of my head, I can think of 11. Like that's, and I'm being completely serious here, not ticky tack stuff. He's just grabbing a lot. And they did give that to him, so Siakam's 3rd.
Yeah. So foul trouble, probably the least of Toronto's worries at this point, because they are not in this game in the slightest. $25-point game. Green closed down by Connaughton. Another reinforcement off that Bucks bench. Now finally an open 3-pointer for Green is off. Giannis can run the time down here as the Bucks looking to take a 27-point lead into halftime. Powell has the matchup on Giannis. Giannis going right at him, shoves him off. Nobody there for his pass. Lopez has to throw it up. I think it was late. And
if that had gone in, they should have just walked off. It has been. It's over.
So, speaking of over, I think this cast is over. 25-point game. Toronto just showing no signs whatsoever, and I need some time where me and everyone else who picked the Raptors in 6 in the series will go commit seppuku, and you'll have a new partner for the next time we do this cast, which will be tomorrow night. Warriors at Portland. I'm suspecting that one will be at least a little closer than this game, but this is just a massacre.
And we will, so for Dunked On, we will not release an episode tonight. We'll probably talk about this game and tomorrow's game for an episode on maybe Saturday night, maybe Sunday night. We'll see.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for watching. Sorry this game was not very good, but I don't think anyone wants to stick around and watch us call a blowout. So we will talk to y'all tomorrow night. What time is that game? Is it 6 again?
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's so late. What, on the weekend, why wouldn't they have it earlier?
Oh, nope, it's still at 6. Yeah, every game in this series is at 6.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to y'all next time.